Hello, good morning, everybody. As you heard, my name is Tobias. I'm the CEO of Tatoshi. We are a Swiss company, and we are doing software development for wallets. You heard a lot of information in the last days, and I thought I'd probably make my speech a little bit more entertaining. And so I think I'm going to tell you a story about two guys. One is Paul, and the other is Harold. And I'm going to show you how they two can do, well, good business in crypto and create a win-win situation. So Paul is a smart guy because he's investing in crypto. He has a basic understanding about the technology. He knows that the private key is representing his funds. And he's, well, afraid of losing this private key because, well, he's not an IT expert. And he would feel much comfortable if there would be a professional who would take care about his private key and his assets. Harold is running a crypto custody company, and before he joined the crypto space, he was a banker. And he knows that banks are taking care about valuable goods for many hundreds of years, and he thinks, well, tokens are just the modern way of valuable goods, so he thinks crypto custody is the natural evolution of banking. So you might think that it would be a good idea if Paul gives all of his cryptos to Harold and gives him a little fee for managing that. You might think, I wouldn't do. Why I wouldn't do that is the concentration of asset increases the risk. So this is the first statement of my speech that you should remember. And you might probably think I'm nuts because why should my assets be quite in risk with Harold? Because Harold is a professional guy. He has hardware security models. He has strong rooms. He has offline storage. So he's doing a good job. So why is there risk when I give my assets to Harold? This picture might explain it. I'm not sure if you know what this is. These are centrifuges for the enrichment of uranium. To be very clear, these centrifuges are in the Iran. They're 80 meters below the surface. The computers who control these centrifuges are not connected to the internet, so they're offline. They have tanks and missiles protecting this site. And I would say they have a security which is much better than the security of any crypto custody organization that I've seen so far. And then, in 2010, this happened. You probably remember Stuxnet virus was a virus that destroyed the computers that were controlling these centrifuges. This was the most sophisticated computer hack that ever happened in history. Experts estimated that the attackers had a budget of 50 to 70 million to run this attack. So what does that mean? That means with a budget of 70 million US dollar, you can hack almost, or not almost, you can hack any IT system in the world. Now, what does that mean for crypto? Those of you who are good in math probably got the point. If it takes 70 million to hack any IT system in the world, and out there are honeypots with several billions of assets in there, I would bet that currently, right in this moment, there are some hackers who might think, this is a good deal. So, the second sentence that you should take away from this speech is, only if you're not an IT guy. If you're an IT guy, you probably know it already. But if you're a business guy, this is the second sentence to remember. Every IT system can be hacked, at least as long as IT systems are being built and operated by humans. Because it's mainly an insider job. There's someone in your company opening the door. Can you be sure that not right now in your company, the smart full-stack developer that you hired 1.5 years ago is just implementing a backdoor? So the question is, will you be hacked or not? And the main determinant for this question is it worth hacking you or not? And the more assets you have concentrated, the more probable you're going to be hacked. So what does that mean for Paul? Paul starts to rethink his strategy. So probably his private key and his funds would be safer if he would keep them himself. Because, well, he's quite wealthy, but he's probably not that wealthy that, well, it would be worth to run a very sophisticated, expensive hack attack against him. But wait, keeping your assets on your own is also risky. Probably heard about people losing their private keys, and in 2017 there was a guy who threw away his hard disk with more than 120 million of bitcoins on it. And Chainalysis analyzed that approximately 3.8 million bitcoins are lost forever because the owners lost their private keys. So it looks like, well, Paul can just choose between pest and cholera. So self-custody has its pros and cons. Custody also has its pros and cons, and he would really wish to have an ideal solution where there's no cons. So what would an ideal solution look like? In an ideal solution, you would have no asset concentration, so you would not attract hackers. And you would be relieved from the responsibility to manage your keys on your own. You would be relieved from the risk of losing a private key. I wouldn't be on the stage if there wouldn't be a solution for that. The solution for that is so-called social key recovery. What does that mean? First of all, it's a non-custody solution. You have your private key, it's your private key, and no one except you ever has your private key. So you take care of your funds, there's no centralization of assets. Well, what you do is you share recovery data of your private key with your friends and family. And in case if you should lose your private key, your friends and family can help you to recover your private key and your funds. So how does that work? Well, I've just limited time, so just make it very, very high level. Technically, you are cutting the private key into 3 parts. So one part remains with the user. This is the part that the user can memorable, so it's a part which you can keep in your brain. The other 2 parts are stored. One is on our server, and the 3rd part is stored with your friends and family. Is that fiction? Is that the future? No, it is not. It's already live. You can see it in our app, and we're in the App Store since April. It's working. Thousands of users are using that. And, well, if you have an iPhone, invited to try it out. Now you probably think, hey, and what about Harold? I mean, I wanted to create a win-win situation for the both of them, and now I have a very good solution for Paul, but where's Harold in the game? So you think he's probably mad on me because I fucked up his business. Oh, no, I messed up his business, sorry for that. No, it's not like that. To be honest, we love Harold. And we love all the other Harolds out there in the world because they're the guys who are paying our bills. And let me show you where the business for Harold is in that. Well, the first one is very obvious. I mean, Harold is good in storing valuable stuff. So you don't give him the private key, but you give him some recovery data that he can store. So Paul doesn't have to find a friend to store his recovery data. He gives part of his recovery data to Harold. And Harold can, well, keep secure and more professional than his friends. And Harold can identify Paul. He can identify Paul when he opens the relationship, and he can identify Paul when he needs a recovery. So that brings additional security for Paul. But I said we love Harold, and Harold loves us, because the really, really cool stuff that is in decentralized custody is that we can help with this solution, Harold, to solve a regulatory issue. In June this year, the Financial Action Task Force released a new regulation on crypto assets, and every country has translated that into national law. So here you see the Swiss guidance on that. And the regulation is very simple. It mainly says if you are a regulated financial service provider in the crypto space and you have a wallet for your customer, you're only allowed to do transactions with wallets of which you are technically sure that they belong to your customer. If they do not belong to your customers, you must KYC the recipient or sender of the transaction in the same way like you did it with your customer. So in practice, this means you can only interact with your customer, and you have to be technically sure that the wallet with which you are interacting really belongs to your customer. This is real shit, sorry. No, because, I mean, imagine you're Harold, and you have a wallet for Paul. It's a custodial wallet. But Paul is doing a lot of things in cryptos. He has a lot of other wallets there, so he's probably taking part in a mining pool, and he gets some cryptos from there. Or he has a hardware wallet, or he wants to deal with a broker. So he has incoming transactions. And then he has outgoing transactions, so probably want to participate in an ICO or buy some STO or IEO or whatever you name it. But Paul cannot use his wallet with Harold because Harold cannot be sure that these outside wallets really belong to Paul. So the assets with Harold are more like locked up. And how can you solve that? The solution for that is that if you are a financial service provider and if you're taking client assets, you should strongly think about offering a non-custodial wallet for your clients. And ideally, a non-custodial wallet for your clients includes a recovery functionality. And this non-custodial wallet can act as your single point of transaction towards your client. So with a non-custodial wallet that you offer for your client, you can be sure that if you're interacting with this non-custodial wallet, you're always interacting with your client. And this non-custodial wallet can be used by your client to do other transactions, to transfer from there or to there to any other wallet as you would like to do. So my ambition was to stay below the 15 minutes. I've practiced hard to go to a point. I made it, we're there, we're at the end. So this is the third sentence that you should remember from the presentation. Non-custodial recovery wallets can be the bridge between regulated financial institutions and their customers. So the story is over. Paul is happy, Harold is happy. Well, if you liked the presentation and you're happy as well, connect with me on LinkedIn or follow me on Twitter. And I think we even have now 3 minutes left for questions, if they should be there. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Tobias. Any questions, guys? Yes, please.
Thanks. Great presentation. So my question is, can Harold, the banker, just decide to not give you his part of the private key so that he locks you basically out of this whole system?
Sorry,
Can Harold, the banker, decide to not give you his part of the key or his part of the operation or the algorithm and lock you out of your assets if he decides to do so?
Well, I mean, if you have lost your private key, then you depend on Harold. But that's why you probably engage Harold and pay him a fee to be available and to give you your recovery data whenever you need them.